Welcome back to Success Blueprints, where we unpack the strategies, mindsets, and skills that help you lead and thrive in business and life. Today, we're diving into a topic that can completely transform how people perceive and respond to you: charisma. Joining me is my co host, Oliver, who always brings his magnetic energy to the table. Oliver, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sylvie. And you know, charisma is one of those topics I could talk about all day. It's fascinating because we often see it as this intangible, mysterious quality. Either you have it or you don't. But that's not true, right?
Exactly, and that's the big misconception. Charisma is a skill, not just a gift. It can be learned, practiced, and improved. And for anyone listening, whether you're leading a team, giving a presentation, or even just networking at an event, mastering charisma can give you a huge edge.
Absolutely. And let's be honest, Sylvie, when we think of charismatic people, we picture figures like Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, or even Steve Jobs. They all seem to have this effortless way of commanding attention. But the truth is, they've cultivated that skill over years of practice. So where should we start for someone who wants to become more charismatic?
Let's start with the foundation. One of the first components of charisma is presence, being fully engaged in the moment. People who are charismatic make you feel like you're the only person in the room when they're talking to you.
Right. And that's so rare these days. Everyone's distracted by their phones or their to-do lists. So, how do you train yourself to be present?
It begins with intentional listening. When you're in a conversation, don't just wait for your turn to speak. Focus on what the other person is saying. Ask thoughtful questions. Use nonverbal cues like nodding or maintaining eye contact to show you're engaged.
That's a great point. Eye contact in particular is huge. I remember reading a study that said people perceive you as more trustworthy and confident when you maintain consistent eye contact.
Exactly. But there's a balance. You don't want to stare someone down. Think of it as natural and warm, not intense.
Totally. Now, let's talk about another pillar of charisma: confidence. This is where so many people struggle because they think they need to fake it until they make it. What's your take on that?
I think confidence starts with preparation. If you know your material, your message, or your purpose inside and out, you naturally exude confidence. It's not about being perfect, it's about being prepared.
That's so true, and preparation doesn't just apply to big speeches or presentations. It could be as simple as preparing for a one on one conversation.
Exactly. And here's a tip for our listeners: posture plays a big role in how confident you appear. Stand tall, shoulders back, head up. Your body language speaks before you say a word.
Oh, absolutely. I love the concept of power posing. There's research that shows standing in a confident posture for even 2 minutes can actually make you feel more confident.
Yes, Amy Cuddy's work on that is fascinating. And while we're on the topic of body language, let's not forget about the importance of smiling.
Smiling is underrated. It's like the universal signal of warmth and approachability.
True. A genuine smile can instantly make people feel at ease. And here's the thing about charisma: it's not just about commanding a room, it's also about making people feel comfortable and valued.
That's powerful, and I think this ties into another key component: storytelling. Some of the most charismatic leaders are incredible storytellers.
Yes, stories captivate people in a way that raw data or facts never can. They engage the emotional side of the brain.
And a great story doesn't have to be long, it just needs to be relatable and have a clear takeaway. For example, instead of saying, "I worked hard and achieved my goal," you could say, "There was this moment at 3 a.m. when I almost gave up, but I pushed through, and that made all the difference."
Exactly. It's about painting a picture. And that brings me to another point: your voice. The tone, pace, and energy you use can make or break your delivery.
Right, because a monotone voice is a charisma killer. I always tell people to vary their pitch and pace, speed up when you're excited, slow down to emphasize key points, and don't be afraid to pause.
Pausing is such an underrated tool. It gives people time to absorb what you've said and adds a sense of drama.
Sylvie, let's talk about ethics for a moment. How do we ensure that when we're learning these skills, we're using them for good and not manipulation?
That's such an important question. True charisma is rooted in authenticity and empathy. It's not about tricking people, it's about genuinely connecting with them. When your intentions are pure, charisma becomes a force for good.
That's beautifully said, and I think our listeners will appreciate that distinction. So, to recap, charisma is about presence, confidence, storytelling, voice, and ethics.
And don't forget body language and smiling.
Of course. So, for anyone listening, if you start practicing even one of these elements, you'll begin to see a difference in how people respond to you.
Definitely. Charisma isn't reserved for a select few. It's a skill anyone can develop with practice and intention.
Absolutely. And on that note, we hope today's conversation has inspired you to take action. Remember, charisma isn't about being perfect, it's about being authentic, engaging, and intentional.
Thanks for tuning in to Success Blueprints. We'll see you next time.